Have you all got handouts? You got handouts? So, I mean, to be honest, I've prepared this very quickly, and it's a little bit rough. Okay, so it's just to give you an idea, really, and we're focusing on question 2 and 3 today. Not sure how long this will last. Maybe maximum till 4 o'clock, I would think. But so here's question 2, and you should already have accessed the video. It's available. Protect the Egg. It's another TEYL video, and then there's a second video which is adults at a vocational college. The main focus really needs to be on the video 1, okay? And really, you're just using video 2 as a kind of brief way of comparing the different sorts of approaches used in the 2 videos. Okay, so here then are the 3 sections, and these sections are again designed really to give you a rough idea. If you want to change the word limits on each section, that's fine, okay, but you can see that this is 1,500 words, okay? And so that's the question which you should have already studied. And the first thing, I'm just going to give you, like I did last week, I'm just going to give you 1 or 2 examples of definitions that you could be using to look at TEYL. And all these texts that I'm going to show you come from the readings which are associated with the TEYL session, which I think was week 4 or something like that, okay? So if you go to week 4 reading list, most of these you can find there, okay? So TEYL definitions. Okay, so there's one here, natural situation. So this is not so much a definition here. This is an advantage of TEYL, natural use of language, boosting motivation towards learning languages. So they don't see English as separate. So that's one thing you might want to say. You can reject it. You don't have to say this, but this is in the first section of it. And then, okay, teaching school curricula in the use of additional, okay. So learning content and language in a dual-focused way. So there's a bit of a definition here. Okay, normally requires methodological shifts in practice. That seems to suggest that a TEYL lesson might use different teaching methods from a normal lesson. I'm not so sure about that, actually. I think there are quite a lot of aspects of just task-based learning in teaching English which you can actually use, whether it's TEYL or not. But anyway, so what I'm doing, I just said, I'm not so sure about this one. So I'm responding critically to what they've said, and I might have a little bit of a discussion about that. So that's another definition. And then, so here's some more definitions, all relating to the first part of the assignment. Okay, so another one, and then we've got key concepts, and then we move into the 4 C's framework. Can you remember what the 4 C's is?
Content, communication, cultural, cognitive.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So this would be an obvious way of structuring any analysis of the materials. And we've done this in class. And I'm going to look at that again in a minute just to remind you of it. Okay. So again, this is from the same paper, talking about COIL and explaining those concepts again. And then you've got the model, which you can bring into the assignment if you want to, and explain what the model is. Okay. And then you might then come up with a set of criteria, these kinds of things. Or you might just want to simply use the 4 C's. You could have a set of separate criteria, or you can use the 4 C's. I'm not going through all these in detail right now, but what I'm saying is you've done your reading and you've looked at your definitions, and then at the end of that, you come away with some criteria which you are ready to apply. Okay, so then we go into materials analysis. So I told you this is rough. If you look at page 2 of the handout, so it's not very clear. So what I've just done is this first section here. It says, before the video analysis, in the first section, give a brief set of definitions or perspectives, which is what we've just looked at, and then after that, you frame and you signpost how you will approach the video analysis. Okay, this is something that often students forget to do. In a way, when you're writing assignments, any assignment really, you want to try and imagine that you're almost having a conversation with me or whoever is doing the marking. And so what this means is you tell the reader what you are going to do. So you do something like this. You would say a frame would be literally what I say now. Having considered a range of definitions and perspectives, I am now going to apply these in a set of criteria. For the purpose of this analysis, this is the criteria I will use. And you literally put that down in 1 or 2 sentences as an explanation to me. So you're guiding me through the process, okay? So that's what I mean by framing, okay? And then you may choose to go through the video step by step and point out how each element relates to, each step of the video relates to each element of TEYL. Okay, so that's that. And then when you are commenting on the video, you can use screenshots. So I'm now focusing on. So if you then turn over to page 3, this then is literally what you might even have in your assignment. This is a different video, of course. This is the video that we used in the lesson. Okay, I'm using the same one. All right, but you've got each stage of the video here, and then you can talk about each stage in terms of TEYL, in terms of child and adult learning, and in terms of TVLT, which are the 3 elements of the question at the beginning, okay? And you can go through each stage like that. It would have to be quite brief to do it, but that's okay. And you can support it by literally pasting in the screenshots of the video. So you can freeze the video, take a photo of it, make it small and put it in, and then talk about it in terms of your criteria, okay? So that's basically how to do it. You don't have to do it this way either, okay? If you think you can do it in a better way than this, I've got absolutely no problem with that, all right? You can think of your own way to do it. I'm only giving you like a baseline, right? And then you can do it however you want to. Okay, now, to be honest, I mean, I don't really think, that's why I say this session could be quite quick, really. I don't think we need to go through this now. a lot of these questions in relation to this video, we've already looked at in the session. So if you want a reminder, you could go back and look at some of the points we made, either on the teacher's notes for session 4 or on the video for session 4, and then you can get the ideas here. But then really, all you need to do is take that approach and apply it to the assessed video, which is on Canvas, okay? So that's question 2. Yeah? Have you got any questions about that? About that one? So let's go over then and look at question 3, evaluation of the success of a young learner lesson. This is a little bit more general, but it's still quite interesting. The aim of this one really is for you to look at the teacher's performance, okay, and how well the teacher is really addressing the needs of young learners. And you can look not only at the methods that the teacher uses, but also what is the teacher like. Now, we haven't really done anything about teacher personality and young learners, actually. So to that extent, you would have to read about it. But we've certainly done stuff in relation to methods. So I'll have a look at that anyway. So there's some repetition here of some of the information from question 1, actually. So difference between, and some of these quotations you could also use for question 2, actually. You know, I'm not this is why I say it's quite rough. So this is about what children are like. They seem less embarrassed, okay. Various points here about child learning. Then we're back to Piaget and the idea of active learner, the idea of assimilation and accommodation, and stages of development, okay, and children as social and scaffolding. All these things can come back in again here, okay. Now again, after your reading of this, you might come across come up with a range of different criteria about the way children learn. Okay, so implicit or they learn by doing. Holistic, so it's not just focused on separate language, focused on meaning, focused on here and now. Short attention span, the importance of movement or TPR, physical response, and children are non-analytical. So you might come up with a range of stuff like that, and then the question is, well, how do we apply that to what extent is the teacher taking account of such criteria in the video? And we'll have a look at this one now. So I've got a parallel video for this one, and you can see what you think about it. We'll just play some through, and let me just go. But we're not. So that's the CLIL one. Let me go back to this, and we're going to do one on. This is a video I didn't use, but it's in the grammar lesson. Okay, teaching grammar videos. It's quite a lot here, but this is the one I want to focus. It's only 5 minutes. We'll just play this, and in fact, you can see the summary over there. You might have a look at this teacher and think about how far this teacher and the activities that they are using, how far do they satisfy the conditions for child learning. So let's just watch this video through, okay?
is so far. Why don't you like penguins? Because they look silly and they can't fly.
Okay, everyone read up. Go. One more time. Go. Grammar. So when do we use the word because? Who knows? When do we use the word because? Leave it.
We are asking a question.
Oh, what kind of question? Lucy? A why question, right? Alright. Okay. Now before we watch the next video, we're going to match those two sentences, right? Okay, let's do them first. Everybody match. Read. Okay, now look at the screen, everyone.
The bear is in the sun. Why is it hot? It's hot because it has fur. That's better. It's a baby elephant. Why is it wet? It's wet because it's taking a shower. This penguin is cold. Why is it cold? It's cold because it's on ice. That's better.
That's funny. Okay, now everybody look. What did you wear to school today? What did you wear to school today? What did everyone wear to school today? Everybody have a t-shirt? But what did everyone wear today? One thing that everyone wore today. A jacket. So, why did you wear a jacket today? Very good. Who can ask me some more why questions? Who can think of some why questions? Joy. Or do you want to wear a hat? That's a good one. Because my head gets cold very easily.
Okay, that's enough of that. Just with your partners, give your general reaction to that. Is that how you would deal with this class? Why not? It's a why question. All right. So can you just talk about that? And you might think about these criteria or other criteria. You might first of all just respond to this video in a sort of emotional or intuitive way and write down what you think about it. And then afterwards, when you've got your ideas, you might see how your natural responses can be formulated into discussing these criteria. But anyway, just talk about the video. What do you think of it? Okay?
I think the teachers he just didn't do anything much in
Yeah,
the
just-
lesson. It's just ask the student to repeat to read out loud.
And I didn't like the fact that his reaction remained all the same, whether to give question, whether to provide answer, or whether to praise the student. His reaction like remained the same, like the facial expression, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so first thing I want to mention is that he's teaching the way that he's teaching methodology is like he just asked the student to repeat just to say out loud. He should earn money without doing anything.
Yeah, I think it's a lack of passion for him.
It's just like he's really based on really relying on the textbooks, rely on the textbook, and without explaining anything to the students, to explain the because structure or something like that without anything.
I think he just got lucky that the students are actually really good. And maybe they already got that implicit knowledge about that. That's why they raise their hand and can say
Yes, exactly.
The level
our regular student,
I don't
think
see
that would
like
work.
based on what we've known about the kids, like they're very active and they love something like visual, like they're doing, and he just didn't organize any activity for the student to do that. Like he would really just say it, do it, and do everything just based on the textbook.
He let individuals do all the things.
And the next part, I can see that the forms of assessment, like if they want to do the forms of assessment, then you got to prepare very carefully for the students, like separating the activity into very small steps. Okay, you're gonna do something like this. First thing you got to do this. The next one is to do like many steps in the activities instead of just okay, you should do this like the whole thing.
Yeah, he just like to ask students.
He just threw the task there, and then you should have got to do that.
Create
I think this is terrible. That's the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah, but the students is good.
I don't know why there's so many crazy video like to say that he did a good job and the manager like happy.
I think this is
Okay,
advertisement for the course.
We could have a long discussion about this, but it's just to give you an overview for the assessment. So obviously you've got your own responses. We'll look at those in a minute. I'm assuming you've probably looked at the actual video for the assignment already. That is significantly better than this one. So you might like to think about, well, what's making that video better than this one. But what are your thoughts about this? Ali, what do you think about this?
Well, I feel like it's staged.
It's staged.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because it was like for the first time, they're reading this for the first time, they would not be able to read it that good. Or they read it and they already like answered, like matched correctly. So I
Could
think
be.
either it's a review or staged.
So
Just like a marketing tool for the book.
Okay, so yes, exactly. Well, it is because it's. Can you believe it? This is National Geographic. This is the publisher, National Geographic, which has its own TV programs on all kinds of stuff on natural history and all that. Okay, so and they publish actually some quite good books. But I can't believe that they've allowed this to be an official demonstration of the book, really. But anyway, yeah, you're right. It could be staged. Let's put that on one side though for now, and just think about the actual activities, the students' reactions, and the teachers' management and persona. What do you, Lily? What do you think?
I think the teacher plays a very small role in the activity because when he just all he do was play the video and ask students like do some like drill activities, just repeat what he said. He didn't like do a step by step, like you can just describe the word, show them the he just like didn't do, like he didn't do it like scaffolding. Just so I don't think.
Okay, so actually you've naturally brought in one concept there. You brought in scaffolding.
Yeah.
To what extent does the teacher scaffold the language? That idea directly comes from your reading, okay,
Yeah.
and that's one of the criteria you might apply. And in this case, there's no scaffolding really, not from the teacher anyway. Is the focus on explicit learning or implicit learning? Would you think? Explicit really, and because it's all repetition, it's focused on form, okay, and questions like when do we use why? Did he ask something like that?
Yeah.
When
kind of questions start with why?
Yeah, and what do you think about that question? If we could bring in another criteria there about children's cognitive development and ability to think in abstract ways. Well, when do we use why or what? That's a very abstract question, isn't it? Okay, which is completely incompatible with what we know about child learning. So there we've got at least 2 or 3 criteria: explicit versus implicit, scaffolding, and cognitive development. 3 criteria there, which we could use to actually analyze this video. And let's just go through 1 or 2 points. I mean, it just makes me laugh. Really.
Why does a giraffe eat leaves at the top of trees? Because it has a
This is such a mad question and answer. And this is actually from the published materials, which you could also... Okay, listen.
because it has a long neck. Leaves at the top of trees.
What? The question is, why do giraffes eat leaves at the top of trees? Oh, well, it's because it's hungry. Because maybe the fresh leaves are at the top. The clean leaves. That's the answer to the question why. Okay, but what's the answer here? Because it has a long neck. What's that? It's completely illogical. But poor kids there, what information are they getting? But this is in the materials actually. So actually we're looking at this not only from the perspective of the teacher, but also from the materials design. And you can do that if you're looking at the second video.
The third question says properly as well, why don't you like penguins? Because they look silly, they can't fly. That's just a silly question.
Why don't you like penguins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just a silly question.
Yeah.
But a penguin is so cool.
Yeah.
Because it has a long neck. Why are kangaroos so cool?
What's that? Why are kangaroos so cool? Cool.
It's just
Hey,
such
cool. Yeah.
a great way of putting it.
Yeah. Would children think about kangaroos being cool? I don't know. I mean, maybe there are some characters in on the internet or on TikTok or something. Maybe there are some cool characters, but then why are they? How do you answer that question? Why is someone cool?
Just cool.
What does that mean? I can't even understand it myself. Why is someone cool? Is it what makes them cool, or is it what's the results of them being cool because they're cool because they want to be liked by lots of people, or why are they cool because they have a really good fashion? 2 completely different answers to the question there, which is, and either of those, it's difficult enough for me to think of that. I mean, how can these kids deal with that answer to that question? So again, this is cognitive processing really. It's way beyond what these children should be expected to handle.
Because they can jump so far.
Kangaroos are cool because they jump. All right, so if I can jump a long way, does that make me cool? Do you have to be a long jumper to be a cool person? I don't know. Very funny. But look at the faces though. Here we have a slight positive. We can look at the engagement of the children from the video. They are quite clearly, in some way, captivated with the video, regardless of not mattering really what the teacher is doing, or not even mattering how stupid and crazy the questions are. There is something here that is implicitly engaging them. So there might be some element about the role of this kind of video that is affectively engaging. So you've got another concept there of affective engagement that you might bring in, which is at least a positive of some kind. Okay, so.
Okay, everyone read up. Stop. One more time. Go, grammar.
And then there's a whole issue here about the validity of this kind of reading aloud, which could be made, because basically it's reading aloud from the screen, and what is the value of that, and is that promoting learning in any way? If it is, how is it promoting learning? If not, why not? So you've got a question there.
They say builds their confidence.
What are criteria for building confident speaking? What do we mean by speaking? Is this speaking? No, it's not. It's not speaking. So you've got another area to discuss here. Obviously, I'm wondering a little bit, and you would have to make it a little bit more systematic than this, but. Look at the teacher. These poor kids are just spit, and the teacher's not even looking at them. And we could go on. I mean, I'm not going to do them. Just towards the end, there is a couple of realistic interactions where they ask, "Why are you wearing a hat?" or "Why do you wear a hat?" Okay. And that is a clue of where this teaching should have been for the whole of the time, really. Okay, there could have been a whole load of why questions generated around that, and it could have been handled implicitly, but it only just comes at the end. The teacher could have started with that. But anyway, so if you, I think... Yeah, and then again, using the idea of video clips on page 6 at the back. Okay, so there are a whole load of video clips and questions. I haven't done it very good. It needs to be more very well. It needs to be more systematic than this. But this is just showing you a kind of way in to dealing with this question.
Can you analyze it, like in relation to task-based principles? I can analyze it.
Well, I mean, what's the question? I just need to double check on the question, because question. So question 3 is on page 4. The aims of the lesson, the techniques used, how successful the teacher is, why, the pros and cons of starting to teach English at primary grade. So those are the questions. So really, no, you should not be looking at task-based principles with this, because it doesn't ask you to in the questions. You need to answer the questions. Correct. Okay. Yeah. So with this one, you've got to be guided by the questions here. Yeah. And it's purposely not talking about task-based principles because in question 1,
Yeah.
there is that, and in question 2, there's potential for that a little bit as well. So I don't want it all about task-based teaching. Okay. So that's that one. Have you got any? Oh, shut up.
When do we use the word because?
When do we use the word because? Oh, for goodness sake, no. How the hell are they supposed to answer that question? Right, okay, fine. So, have you got any questions? Any questions about that at all? No? No? Okay, good. Right, we'll stop there. And that's enough of that.
That one really hasn't